Is this season the peak of the Phoenix Suns? The reason I say that is because there are some major contractual issues on this Phoenix Suns team moving forward that could really hinder their ability to acquire such a talented team again. As it often is for these types of teams, they have some young players on some smaller deals, such as Mikal Bridges, such as DeAndre Ayton, and pretty soon these guys are going to have to get paid, and it's going to be tough for them to stay as competitive as they are this season. Another reason I said that is within the last couple of days, there have been two different rumors that have sprout out about the Phoenix Suns. One, that Chris Paul is likely to opt out of his $44 million contract this summer, which I find very surprising because the reasoning seems to be that he wants to get paid. I doubt someone's going to give Chris Paul $44 million next summer, but maybe they will. Maybe they will. We've been surprised before. I don't know who would be willing to do that, though, because I don't think many teams have that type of money that are competitive enough for Chris Paul's liking. But nonetheless, he wants to potentially opt out and try and chase a bigger bag. Although he can't really get much of a bigger bag. He's going to get $44 million next summer. And then also DeAndre Ayton has said that he wants money similar to what Luka Doncic and Trae Young are going to get paid on his rookie extension this coming summer if he does sign an extension, or if not, he will go into the RFA market. And DeAndre Ayton's currently primed to make $12.6 million next year, and even at a bare minimum, that's probably likely to double before his extension kicks in the 2022-23 season. And they also have to re-sign Mikal Bridges to a rookie extension next year. He's under contract for next season, but after that, he will have to be extended as well. And so that's where my concerns come from. We're going to dive into this a bit deeper. But before we get into that, if you guys do enjoy NBA content like this, consider subscribing. I post 5 or more NBA videos a week talking about teams, trades, movement, games, previews for series as we go through the playoffs and into the postseason, into the draft. We'll be talking about what I expect some teams will do in the draft and free agency, all that good stuff. So if that is something you are interested in, then please consider subscribing and leave a like down below if you guys do enjoy. And so let's get into it. Let's break down the contract scenario for the Phoenix Suns. As of right now, they are $125 million in payroll next season, and they are currently contracted to $68 million in payroll in the 2022-23 season. But that does not include contracts for Chris Paul if he comes back, DeAndre Ayton, whatever his extension ends up being, and Mikal Bridges, whatever extension he ends up having. This also is a team option on Cam Johnson of $5.887 million, and the year after that, he's also going to get paid if they want to retain him, and that's going to be a significant jump in salary. So over the next couple of years, they are finally going to have to start paying these young guys, not named Devin Booker, because of course he's already been paid, and they're going to have to figure out what happens with Chris Paul, and that's why I say this might be the peak for this Phoenix Suns roster. And that's why some may have argued at the trade deadline that they should have made another move to try and beef up their team, because this was probably going to be the best shot they ever have at winning a title, outside of just Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, and those players just continuing to develop to another level, because they're not going to be able to add much talent to this roster unless they can make a trade with one of these guys and a few first-round picks down the road to add alongside Devin Booker. Because here's the outlook long-term. Let's look at the 2022-23 and 2023-24 seasons. Contractually, if Chris Paul opts out, that probably means he doesn't want to stay. Phoenix will have the bird rights. They will have the best odds of retaining him. But with that being said, I don't think he wants to come back that much if he's willing to opt out of $44 million, unless he just genuinely wants to take less money to come back to Phoenix, which does not seem like it's likely based on the reports we've seen. And so they're going to lose their second best player arguably on the roster in Chris Paul. Some would argue their best player on the roster, but I still think Devin Booker's a better player, but I love Chris Paul. He's a very valuable member of this team. And losing him is going to be a significant blow to this team, because next up then is Cameron Payne, who, don't get me wrong, is a great point guard, but A, he's not Chris Paul, and B, he also has to get paid. So there's more money. So Chris Paul's gone. Okay, so your team's already significantly worse. And that's the biggest reason why I think this is the peak of this team. But next up, I don't know if they're going to be able to retain all of these young players on their roster. Here's what they're looking at long-term, 3 or 4 years down the road. Devin Booker's going to be getting paid this 2023-24 season. He's currently going to be getting $36 million. DeAndre Ayton says he wants Luka Doncic and Trae Young type money. Now that means a full max deal. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to get a max, but I don't think it's obscene to think he's going to get around the range of $25 million, because I think someone will, if the Phoenix Suns don't give him that in an extension or max that in free agency, if he does become a restricted free agent. Jared Allen's talking about getting some crazy money this summer, and in my opinion, DeAndre Ayton's already a better center than Jared Allen is, and has a much higher ceiling. Of course, the number one overall pick a few years ago. So I think it's totally fair to think that Ayton gets 25 to 30 million, which I think is an egregiously high price and something he's just not worth. I don't think many centers in the league are worth that, outside of Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic and maybe Bam Adebayo. And even that I would question. I just don't think that center position is valuable enough. I think you can get a good replacement for less money to do most of what a DeAndre Ayton would do. But maybe that's me just not evaluating him properly. Nonetheless, he is going to get paid. Mikal Bridges is also going to get paid. He's turned out to be a very good 3-and-D player, very long, very good defense, can hit some threes for you. His offensive game is expanding year on year. He's currently getting paid $5.5 million next year, and there's no doubt in my mind he's probably going to be getting $15+ million a year, because I think someone of his caliber in this league is very valuable. I think he could be in high demand as well. Then you also have Cam Johnson, who's only projected to get $6 million in the 2022-23 season, and that is also going to raise probably north of 10, if not 12 million as well. And then you also have to pay Cameron Payne, who's also going to demand a fairly good salary this summer, because he is a free agent and is someone who's played very well in the playoffs. And so he might look to become a starting point guard, although I don't know how much interest there is going to be in him being a starter. But if Chris Paul leaves, the Suns may need him to be a starter, and so they may start paying him as well as one and make him a salary worth 10 or 12 million or more after his great season, and especially a very good playoff run so far with Chris Paul struggling with some injuries. He's proven to be a very good backup point guard for this team, and so you can't really argue with the fact that he's going to want a nice payday increase this summer as well. And so that raises a lot of questions for Phoenix long term and how competitive this roster is going to be. There's no doubt this team will still be good if they can keep Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, keep some depth. They'll have Crowder, they'll have Saric, Jalen Smith, Javon Carter, whoever else they bring back, Torrey Craig, Frank Kaminsky, Langston Galloway, Twan Moore, all free agents this summer, where they can acquire some depth, I'm sure, or we're seeing some of these guys on minimum deals. But there's definitely going to be some concerns regarding salary and losing Chris Paul. Automatically, they lose Chris Paul, this team is worse. But DeAndre Ayton is going to be getting 25 to 30 million. We'll lowball and we'll say 25. We're going to project for the 23-24 season. This is when everyone will be under their new deals. Devin Booker will be getting 36 million. We'll say Bridges will bare minimum will be getting 15. Cam Johnson bare minimum 12. Cameron Payne bare minimum 10. That puts them at 98 million on a bare minimum. And I honestly think that it's probably going to be more than that. I think Bridges probably gets more money. I think DeAndre Ayton probably gets more money. I wouldn't even be shocked if Cam Johnson gets more money. And this is not included any bench contracts that they sign as well. And so they're going to be pressed against the tap retaining these guys, and they're not going to have the money for another star unless they acquire that star before they make these contracts on their new young players and these extensions kick in, so that the extensions can fall over the luxury tax and they can have their signings from elsewhere come in under the salary cap. Problem being, those signings just don't exist in free agency this summer, which just means they're not going to come in time for them to be able to do that. And so if Phoenix Suns are not able to retain Chris Paul this summer, which very much is currently in doubt, they do retain him, it's probably going to be on a 2-year deal. It's probably going to be on a very high number, just like it is this year, and they're going to be over the cap next year. Most certainly, even more so the year after, when Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton's extensions kick in, if they do decide to retain both of them, which I expect they would. But if they don't retain Chris Paul, this team's in trouble. This team's still good. Don't get me wrong. This team is still a good team, as we saw in the bubble last year. They would still be good, but without Chris Paul, this team made a contender. This team's probably one of the favorites in the West, alongside Utah, I guess, and maybe Dallas, if you're convinced about Dallas, if they get past the Clippers. But Denver not having Jamal Murray, with the Lakers gone, there's really no clear-cut favorite in the West anymore. But the Suns have to be one of the favored teams to get out of the West right now. Without Chris Paul, this team just isn't as good. They're still a playoff team, in my opinion, most definitely. but they're a bottom half of the West playoff team. They're definitely not a contender. They're definitely not a 2 seed. And so that is my concerns about the Phoenix Suns, and that is why I say this season may have been the peak of the Phoenix Suns in this era. We may never see Devin Booker on as good of a Phoenix Suns team again, at least not until they significantly shake up the pieces, players, and salaries on this roster. Let me know what you guys think below about the Phoenix Suns' future, and if this is going to be their best season of the Devin Booker era. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.